This is the DBX, Aston Martin's first ever SUV, and it's the latest in a crop of performance car manufacturers delving into this, the most profitable part of the automotive world, SUVs. But my question is this: is the DBX a sports car that has been inflated to the size of an SUV? Or is it a true SUV that has been given sports car credibility? Because there is a difference.
The Aston Martin DBX packs a twin-turbocharged 4-litre V8 sourced from Mercedes-AMG, delivering 542 brake horsepower and 516 pounds-feet of torque. It might look deceptively compact, but it's actually bigger than a Porsche Cayenne, and it can shift that body up to 60 miles an hour in just 4.3 seconds. The interior looks modern and elegant with a 10.2-inch infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay but no Android Auto, spacious rear seats and a sizable trunk.
When driving the DBX, for me the thing that is most remarkable is how much you can forget that this is an SUV. Sure, the higher driving position definitely suggests you're in something bigger than a traditional Aston Martin. But when you add in all the trappings around you, which doesn't look that far removed from, say, a DB11, the sound of that exhaust and that engine roaring, which is a true sports car engine, and the fact that this thing shifts unlike anything of this size, and crucially its weight. This thing gets up to dangerous speeds quickly without any effort whatsoever. That engine is more than capable of propelling this thing so fast into the horizon, you won't notice the difference in performance between this and a sports car until you take it to the track. In fact, the biggest difference in how the DBX feels to drive compared to other Aston Martin sports cars is where the DBX can do more stuff. Yes, it's a performance car SUV and they'll rarely ever be taken off-road. But the truth of the matter is, you can take the DBX off-road. I first drove this car when it was still at prototype stage, and I took it off on dirt roads in the Middle Eastern country of Oman, and it was really capable. You're not going to take this completely off bouldering or King of Hammers or anything crazy like that. Obviously, no SUV does that. But the fact that it actually can, with its terrain and terrain plus modes, traverse territory that an Aston Martin should never get into, it makes you think, well, if this car can be as sporty as the sports cars under Aston Martin can be, plus it adds so much more, then why wouldn't you get this car? Of course, then you realize an Aston Martin sports car adds so much more than just the speed and the utility and the comfort and the luxury. There's that inheritance of that brand. If someone says, oh, I drive an Aston Martin, the thing that comes to your mind are the other DB cars, be that a DB11 or something earlier, maybe even going back to a DB5, that clear line of cars that have a certain setting, a certain feeling in common. Those are sports cars of varying degrees of success and performance, but they were all sports cars, small, British, sleek, sexy sports cars. The DBX inherits a lot of that characteristic DNA, and all of the touches around it show that it's clearly an Aston Martin, but it really sits so far outside of the rest of the lineup, it doesn't feel like a real Aston Martin. The thing is, the company has invested in this car heavily. The success of the brand really pivots on how well this car sells. And this car isn't built on an existing platform. This is a brand new platform just for this car. It suggests that Aston Martin is not only going to continue with this car, but potentially do more with this platform, build more larger cars over its future. The car's already selling really, really well and helping dig Aston Martin out of a hole that it's found itself in for a couple of years. Much like the Cayenne did with Porsche, we start to change the way we perceive the brand because of cars like this. It might not be a car that speaks to the Aston Martin purist, but enough people are interested that it could mean the success of Aston Martin is guaranteed for years to come. So the question of whether a DBX is a real Aston Martin is immaterial. It is an Aston Martin. This is the direction the company and the entire automotive industry is going, and the quicker we get used to that, the better. The fact is though, this still has a beast of an engine. It performs so well out on the road, and it sounds amazing that you know that this is part of a dying crop of cars. Internal combustion engine only cars are, well, their days are numbered. And for those last dying breaths of this kind of vehicle, I'm so glad that there are cars around like this. Yes, it's in a body shape that I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards, but the added practicality that it adds means that you can use an Aston Martin every single day, and it completely can satisfy everything you'd ever want from a car. Perhaps it's not the most attractive thing in the world, certainly not the most attractive Aston Martin, but really once you're in the driver's seat, all that matters is what you can do with the car. And with a tool this versatile, it's hard to reject that. The amount of time I've got to spend in this car is enough to fall in love with everything about it that's positive, and really nothing about it has struck me as negative. I'm not an SUV person. For a practical car, I tend to edge towards things like estate cars, and then Porsche might be the brand that actually caters to me with things like the Panamera, or maybe even the Taycan Cross Turismo if I want to go down the EV route. But push me into a corner and force me to select an SUV, it's not as ostentatious and crazy as a Lamborghini Urus, nor as pompous and overblown on the luxury side as maybe a Bentayga and a Cullinan, all of which I kind of like and have a lot going for them individually. But this car, the DBX, strikes that nice balance between performance and practicality, all in a package that makes this feel more like a sports car that has indeed been inflated to the size of an SUV. The compromises are minimal enough that you can get a full Aston Martin driving experience from this thing, and the added practicality just means it's more of an all-round tool.
What do you think of the DBX? Leave your comments below. For more from Roadshow, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to stay up to date with the latest automotive news as it breaks, head over to Roadshow News, clicking the button on screen now. And if you'd like to see more on luxury brands like Aston Martin, consider subscribing to our sister channel, Carfection.